Our esteemed guest today is Ed Johnson, hailing from the United Kingdom. Ed is a visionary entrepreneur and the CEO of Pushfar, which is a renowned mentoring platform, and he has etched his name in Forbes' prestigious 30 under 30 list within the social impact category. And with expertise and passion intersecting at mentoring and coaching, Ed's insights promise to be enlightening. And as we gear up for our discussion on the vibrant topic of entrepreneurship and the profound value of mentoring, brace yourselves for an exhilarating twist in the engaging conversation. Let us tickle the brain of Ed first. So, Ed, get ready for a rapid fire round of random words. I'll mention a few, and I would love to hear the first thing that comes to your mind in response without thinking much. So, if you're ready, let's get started.
Perfect.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Yeah, here comes my favorite word, mentor.
Potential.
Invention.
Creativity.
Future.
Exciting.
Book.
A single man.
Movie.
Tender is the night.
Goal.
Happiness.
Dream.
Happiness.
Name, other than Ed.
Rupert, my father.
Nice. Mentee.
Also potential.
Wow. And the last one is entrepreneur.
Again, exciting.
Super. Fabulous. And that was very crisp, and thanks for participating so sportively. I really appreciate it. And folks, welcome to the Guiding Voice podcast series, where we embark on transformative conversations for a better future. I'm your host, Naveen Samala, dedicated to making the world a better place through valuable discussions that add value not only to your life, but also to your career. Thank you so much for tuning in. Ed, hearty welcome to the Guiding Voice. I'm thrilled to have you as a guest on my show.
Thank you very much. It's wonderful to have the opportunity to talk to you, and it's great to be here.
Yeah, pleasure to have you, and let's get started. Maybe we'll embark on our topic. Okay, so can you share a personal story of how mentoring has impacted your own life or career?
It's become my life and career, if I'm honest. In the business that I've created, in the way it supported me, I was looking for a mentor myself 7 years ago. I was probably slightly lost in my career. I had a career in digital and in technology. I'd worked at some amazing companies, the largest of which Oracle, massive technology company, and had a relatively successful career, I suppose, in a little or a short period of time, from my late teens to my mid-20s, and was managing a team. I had a good opportunity to be a head of digital for a company. But then I was thinking, well, what's the next step in my career? I could either follow that career path in one company, or I could change between companies. But I knew I wanted to start a business as well. And ultimately, I knew I needed a mentor to support me or guide me on that. And I started to look at where you go to find a mentor. How does one find a mentor? How does one go about connecting with those individuals? And realized that there weren't that many places where you could do that. And realized that actually there was an opportunity to create something hopefully really powerful. And I'd like to think that we're doing that. And Pushfar has become the vehicle for that. And for the last 6 years, have been working as the co-founder and CEO of Pushfar to build this network of mentors and mentees, and also to help organizations to run their own mentoring programs too. So mentoring is my career, my life. I spend my time doing it personally as well as for our clients. And it's great to see so many people connecting as a result of that, as indeed we are today, because of connections being formed there.
Absolutely. My mentee connected you with me.
Brilliant.
And indeed, it's a great thing that you are doing, and definitely it is going to help millions of people across the globe. And my next question is around the compelling name, Pushfar, right? That is so, it's so obvious that somebody is trying to push you far beyond your limit. That's my anticipation, if I have understood it right. Right. So I would like to understand, what inspired you to do this? Like you said, you were looking for a platform, and now you have already created one. And How did you see the potential for a mentoring platform, in order to make a difference?
Well, I think it applies to everybody. I think everybody around the world can benefit from mentoring, both as a mentor and a mentee. I think everybody has the potential to be a mentor. We've all got our own experiences. We've all got knowledge that we build up that we can share with others. And that in itself is really exciting. I think both everybody's potential to be a mentor, but also to benefit from having a mentor really makes it accessible to everybody. And that's one thing that obviously the internet is great at doing, is bringing people together from across the world. And mentoring seems to me to be the obvious way in which we can help everybody to go further in their career and with their potential, which is why I used the word potential twice in that quick fire round. Being able to facilitate that is just a wonderful thing to be able to do, that everybody can benefit from, everybody can get involved in. And that's really where the name came from, Pushfar, to help people to go even further in their career, to realize their potential. And it's a nice 2-syllable name, and we were able to get pushfar.com as a domain, so that helped as well. But it's really just that accountability, that potential, and helping people to get to that next level in their career.
Awesome. Now, I'm interested to understand your success mantra. Please share with our audience the top 3 things that have contributed to your own professional and personal success.
Well, of course, the first one I'd have to mention is mentoring. Having a mentor in your life that you can talk to about challenges, about the goals that you've got, the objectives that you have, and using a mentor to help you to remain accountable to those goals. So the idea being, if you tell yourself you're going to do something, you might, and if you're driven and passionate enough, you probably will. But actually, if you start telling your mentor about what you'd like to achieve and you get their advice and guidance to do that, you're far more likely to. So that mentoring, that accountability, I think, is the first thing. I think the second thing that's really important is just to focus on what you're doing yourself, not comparing yourself with others. I think that's particularly important in entrepreneurship. I think it's really easy to start focusing on what competitors are doing or what other entrepreneurs do. But actually, what's really valuable is focusing on your own goals, your own objectives, and not comparing them to others, but comparing them to what you did yesterday and how you can go even further yourself. And the third thing, bit of a cliche, but as I've kind of gone through entrepreneurship or gone through the process of starting Pushfar, is just to make sure you are focusing on the things that you enjoy doing, that you aren't getting tied into the things that don't give you pleasure. Of course, with every job, even with running your own business, there are things that we have to do that we don't particularly enjoy. But make sure your life doesn't become full of those things, and make sure you're focusing on the things that you really want to be doing, or coming up with a plan to get to that position and to get to that place. So if you're going through a period of difficulty or challenge or things that you're not enjoying, as long as you're doing that with a reason behind it, and you know that you're on a trajectory on the right path, then that's important.
I can relate very well with point number 2, and especially point number 3, because I started my podcasting journey about 3.5 years ago, and still I get comments from people like, "Why are you doing this? You haven't monetized yet." My passion is driving this. I'm able to connect with so many amazing entrepreneurs and leaders like you, right? Without which I would have not reached here. So I'm loving this.
Good. Well, keep doing it then. You're doing a great job at it. You've obviously got it really well planned, and I can tell by the questions and the preparation that goes into it. So there's definitely a passion, and that's the number one reason.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ed, now I'm interested to understand your entrepreneurial journey. Really keen to know the key lessons that you have learned as an entrepreneur, because you had a corporate career. You have moved on to start your own venture, and probably, is there anything that you wish you had known when you first started your entrepreneurial journey?
Well, I think I started my entrepreneurial journey when I was in my early teens. When I was still at school, I was designing websites for local businesses. I was involved in other startups as well, and I've had a lot of failures along the way, but I've learned so much from them. So what people see about the successes of Pushfar, actually a lot of that has come from learnings from previous apps or businesses or ventures that I was either involved in or started myself. So I think the main thing is just to learn from those mistakes, to bring them forward to the next the next venture and the next business. Starting a business isn't easy. There are gonna be mistakes made. There are gonna be businesses that fail.
Yeah.
I think 9 in 10 startups fail is the statistic. So don't give up, learn from those mistakes, and then bringing it back to mentorship. If you can learn from the mistakes that others have made, then that's going to help you to accelerate more as well. So always be keen to and open to learning, and to learning not just about the things that have gone well and how to do something, but just as valuable is to learn how not to do something. And whether that's from your own experiences or the experiences of a mentor, that's really valuable.
Awesome. Now, I'll share an instance of how the guiding voice has helped people. Like, since I drive a lot of technology-related conversations and also entrepreneurs, I bring on board certain coaches and all. So often I get some comments from my community members saying that, hey, that particular episode has helped me make a career decision, and right now I'm in a better shape than, because before listening to that episode I didn't have that much of clarity, and thank you for doing that. So similarly, when it comes to Pushfar, did you have any memorable success story from someone who has used your platform and experienced significant career growth as a result? Of course, there are thousands of people on the platform for sure, but is there anything that really stands out and which gave you that kick? Yes, I did it.
There are a few. I think the main ones are probably an individual who was being mentored to get the sort of dream job that she wanted. She was able to connect with her mentor through the platform, and they would otherwise never have connected. They said that they were, in completely different parts of the world. They didn't really have what they perceived to be relevant experience to one another, which I think is always really interesting with mentoring, because actually if you've got those soft skills, you don't need to be in the same industry, you don't need to be in the same location, you can still really mentor someone successfully. So I think that one was really powerful, because they actually said to me, if it wasn't for your platform, we would never have come across one another. And so that immediately, I'm aware that happens every day with the mentoring connections we make, but the fact that they'd said it was just the extra excitement level there, I suppose, for me, or driver. But I think also the fact that actually 44% of the mentoring relationships on Pushfar are international, where the mentor and the mentee are in different countries. That's wonderful. That's great to see that happening. And that's partly come out from the pandemic, I think, as well. People are more open to connecting internationally and globally. And so people are learning from cultures, they're learning from experiences, they're learning from ways in which industries differ from territory to territory. And the really exciting guidance from that, I suppose. So that excites me, that global element to Pushfar and to what we do.
Absolutely. That Stephen Robin is a right example, right? My mentee, I met him there. And we are like thousands of miles apart, and especially the diversity part, right? That is something, a unique thing, and it is adding a lot of value to the platform. That's what I could say. And with that, let's talk about the mentors and mentees. Like, in terms of, let's assume if any of our audience members are considering to become a mentor or seeking a mentor themselves, what qualities should they look for in a mentor-mentee relationship?
I think the first thing is going in with a mindset of openness and transparency. I think it's really important to build up that rapport with your mentor and mentee, mentor or mentee, or potentially both. And if you're holding back either knowledge, if as a mentor you're not prepared to share the knowledge that you've built up with your mentee to the fullest extent, then you're not on the right path. You need to find someone who's really open, transparent, honest. And so I would say that's the first thing. And a big part of mentoring is that confidentiality, that feeling that you can talk about your goals, your objectives, the challenges you might be facing. It's really important that you can tell your mentor about the mistakes you make or about the things that didn't quite go to plan. And if you don't have that rapport, that trust built up, then it's difficult to do that. So I think making sure that you've got a mindset of openness and honesty and transparency, but also not expecting that to happen straight away. Like, building rapport does take time. So sometimes a mentor and a mentee will connect. They'll have an initial meeting, but they won't feel it's quite right don't expect it to be quite right straight away. You need to give it time. You need to get to know one another. You need to make sure you've got a proper introductory conversation going. So yeah, open, transparent, honest conversation, making sure that you're setting the right expectations with one another, that you know what your, as a mentee, what your goals and objectives are, or as a mentor, what you're able to bring to that, what your experience is, and then not expecting it to happen straight away. It takes a bit of time to build up that rapport, to get to know one another. So I think those are the main things I would recommend. The great thing about mentoring is that there's no hard and fast rules, though. There's no one way. So whilst we would start by recommending meeting once a month for an hour, if a mentor and a mentee want to meet twice a month for half an hour, or they meet once a quarter, that's all fine. There are definitely recommendations, but there's no one size fits all. So I think the great thing about mentoring is it can be flexible. It can be utilized in a fantastic way that works for both parties. So make sure it's working for you, making sure it's working for your mentor or mentee, and be honest and open about that as well. Is it working for you both?
Very nice. It also reminds me about my relationship with my mentor. Like, she's a vice president at my organization, and we have very open conversation, and I can resonate with all the wonderful points that you have mentioned, because having a transparent communication, especially on things that did not work out, will help us in terms of navigating a different path than what was planned earlier. Like, we can steer towards a different route and make sure that we're aligned. I think, that's so powerful advice. Now let's move on and talk about the future of the mentoring. So how do you envision the future of mentoring, and what role do you see technology playing in it, especially the AI?
So I think the future of mentoring is only going to get bigger and better. And what I mean by bigger is I think more and more people will get involved in mentoring. We'll have a mentor, or will be a mentor, or will hopefully do both. So those who haven't yet realized its potential will be drawn to it. More and more organizations and companies around the world are investing in mentoring, which is fantastic. And it's great to see that it's happening. And there's the realization that it can have a huge impact on people. So I think more and more people will get involved in mentoring. The ultimate aim is everybody should get involved as a mentor and or a mentee. I think where technology can continue to help is platforms like Pushfar. So getting more people involved in being a mentor or a mentee, or both, on a global scale. So as I say, at the moment, 44% of mentoring relationships are international, but I only see that increasing. I think more and more there will be a global push for mentoring and those different perspectives that individuals have. You mentioned diversity, learning from each other's experiences, their perspectives. That's so valuable. And I see that growing as well. Where AI is concerned, I'm not sure entirely whether AI is going to have that much of an impact on mentoring. And the reason I say that is mentoring is so focused on people. And so even if you could get the same sort of advice from a machine or from ChatGPT or any other AI tools out there, I think people value and respond well to that human touch, that personal element that I don't think AI is going to replace. People will say I'm wrong on that, but at the end of the day, I think what people respond to with mentoring is that, as I said earlier, that openness, that transparency, that honesty, those empathetic feelings and emotions that go with humanity, and AI can't replace. I think what AI might be able to do, or should, or already can do, but will hopefully get better at, is helping people to match with the right mentor or mentee. But again, that's a contentious or a tricky subject, because there are things like unconscious bias that can creep in with matching. So you'll end up matching people in the same location, with the same industry, with the same objectives. And one of the lovely things about mentors and mentees is they can be completely different. And those differences are just as valuable, if not more so. So we'll see whether AI is going to have an impact on that. But I think the future of the mentoring is definitely going to be bigger and better, and more people getting involved.
Sure. And it sounds good. And I think exciting times are ahead. And
definitely.
Yet we have had an incredible conversation so far, and it's time to add some more excitement. So get ready as we dive into a series of intriguing rapid fire questions, the second round to spice up the episode further. So if you are ready, let's get started again. All right, here comes my first question. If you could have one gigantic billboard anywhere with anything on it, what would it say?
It would say, get a mentor. And we basically do that with advertising already, but if we could have a billboard, we'd stick that on there as well.
Nice. And what's one thing you're really bad at and that you wish you were better or good at?
I'm really bad at saying no. And I think there's a good and a bad to that, but I think I'm really bad at saying no. I want everybody to be happy, but as a CEO and as a founder, I have to say no sometimes, or quite a lot of the time. I have a limited capacity. I have a limited amount of time, and so I'd like to be better at saying no. But also, I think that's one of my better qualities is hopefully the fact that I am polite and courteous and considerate. So there's the bad, but there's the positive side.
You're very approachable. Like I have met many CEOs, but you have that charismatic leadership somehow. You're so welcoming. I'm telling you very openly.
Well, that's very kind of you to say. Thank you.
Okay. So Ed, can you describe yourself in just one word?
Happy.
And what's your favorite thing about living in the 21st century?
The flexibility of it. I think we're so fortunate to have so much flexibility in where we work, in how we work, in what we work on. People say that they're scared about AI taking over jobs, but I don't see that happening first and foremost. But I also see, if we look around at the jobs and the spectrum of jobs available to us now, there have never been more available. Roll back 100 years and you could kind of pick from 10 different industries. Roll back 200 years, it would be more like 5. It would be kind of, are you a farmer? Are you a fisherman? Are you a policeman? That's sort of, there was a limited number of jobs and a limited number of opportunities within those. Now there's so much freedom. There's so much flexibility. And I think that's great.
Nice. And if you could have any superpower, what would it be and why?
More time, because that's the only thing really that you can't buy, and you can't. I don't need to be able to fly, although I'd love to. I can get on an airplane to do that. I think if I could have more time, that would be the most important thing.
Nice. And here comes my last one, the last bullet out of the rapid fire. If what is one electronic gadget or a fantasy gadget that you would like to invent or see yourself?
Having said, and they kind of already exist, but I'd like them to be more accessible. And having said that I don't need to fly, I'd love a jetpack or something where I could just kind of go off and, travel. That'd be pretty cool, I think.
Awesome. Yeah. Great. And I thoroughly enjoyed the rapid fire round. With that, let's flip back to the mainstream. And here comes my last but one question. Like many aspiring entrepreneurs might be listening or watching this episode. So what advice would you give to someone with a big idea but limited resources to start their own venture?
Just start. There are so many people who put off starting their business because they don't feel they have the resources or they don't feel they can. But actually, a lot of what you need to start the business comes from within, and it's a case of just starting. Map it out, plan it out, execute on it as much as you can, collaborate with other people. There are so many things that you can do without the requirement of financial resource. I mean, I think there are some ventures where you're going to need quite a lot of resource. So building a rocket and going to the moon, but start collaborating with people, start planning out what it's all about and just get started. Don't sit on that idea. So I think that's the first thing I'd say, but also find a mentor, of course.
Very nice. Yeah, just get started. So folks that are listening or watching, right? So don't wait for that big day or maybe you wanted to accumulate everything before getting started, but starting is the key. And thank you so much. That was
Absolutely.
really great advice. And with that,
And if I was just going to say one more thing on that.
absolutely.
If you feel like you don't have the time to do something, get up earlier in the morning. There are so many people who I hear saying, I don't have the time. And I remember when I was starting Pushfar, I had a full-time job. I was head of digital for another company. I would get up at 4:30, 5 a.m. and I would work 3 hours, 5 until 8. And I'd get so much done. And yeah, sometimes I went to bed at 8 p.m. Sometimes I was in bed by 8:30 p.m. Because I knew I was getting up early the next morning. And yes, I maybe sacrificed some nights out with friends, but it got me to where I am. And we always have the time for the things that are important to us. Yeah. So just get started, and you have got the time. Make sure you make the most of it.
Yeah. And I totally echo with you, like, because I also have a day job and this is my side hustle before I build my own business, right? So I burn the midnight oil, and typically I interview a lot of international speakers, and I do that after my work hours, like 9 p.m. onwards to 11:30 p.m. And sometimes I wake up early also, like 6 a.m. Yeah. I perform the interviews likewise, and I'm sacrificing a lot of family time as well. So yeah, couldn't agree more. Yeah. Awesome.
Good stuff.
So yeah, Ed, before I let you go, please share with our audience how is your experience being hosted on the Guiding Voice and any improvements that has to be made.
Honestly, I can't think of a single improvement. I really like the rapid fire. I think it's been a great for me. I mean, we're recording this on a Monday morning, my time at 8:30 a.m. and it's a great start to the week. I've really thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm feeling more motivated just by talking to you, Naveen. So thank you so much. And really, delighted to have had the opportunity to speak with you today. So thank you.
Yeah. Same here, and even I felt energized. And on that note, I would also like to thank Stephen Robin once again for recommending me such a wonderful guest. Thank you so much, Ed. I really appreciate your time and all the wonderful insights that you have shared with our audience.
Thank you very much.
All right. So, friends, that was our episode with Ed Johnson. And before we jump into the fun trivia section, we have a quick request. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our podcast, because subscribing keeps you updated on new episodes. Also, if you have enjoyed this conversation and found the episode useful, request you to share with at least 3 of your friends or colleagues who would also like the Guiding Voice. And please spread the knowledge and help others grow like you, because your support means a lot and it helps us create more content for you and our community. Let us learn together on this journey. And now let's hop into the trivia segment. We had a very great conversation about mentoring, and I thought I would extend a few more facts related to mentoring. And one of the popular concepts is reverse mentoring. Some mentoring platforms promote reverse mentoring as well, wherein younger or less experienced individuals mentor older or more experienced counterparts, and sharing insights on topics like technology and social media. And next one is about AI and chatbots, like emerging technologies like artificial intelligence and also chatbots are being integrated into mentoring platforms to provide instant answers to common questions and assist with mentoring coordination. But overall, this particular domain seems to be quite interesting, and I'm sure a lot of developments are going to happen. And as Ed mentioned, I think more and more people will start seeing the value of mentoring and find a mentor for themselves or become a mentee, or they also might become a mentor. So on that note, I would love to hear from you in terms of how your mentoring journey has been. If you have already been a mentor, how did you help your mentee, or the other way around, if you have been a mentee, how did your mentor help you? So I would love to go through your comments. If you're watching this on YouTube, please comment there, or if you're listening to this on a audio platform like Spotify or Apple Podcast, please share your comments through email or through social media, and I would love to review them. So that's it for today's episode, and thank you so much for tuning in and also for being part of our awesome community. We would love to hear from you, and do not hesitate to share your ideas and feedback through our social media or our email, theguidingvoiceforyou@gmail.com. And remember, let's create content that resonates with you. I'm your host Naveen Samala, a lifelong learner, and my goal is to have impactful conversations that improve not only your life but also your career. So stay connected as we journey together, and until next time, take care, stay inspired. Remember, the future holds great things because the best is yet to come. So, folks, goodbye for now. See you all in the next episode with another wonderful guest.